Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Abomination Goddess podcast. Yay!
Hey.
I am with Casie Halseth. She is the author of Abomination Born. It is a fictional portrayal of her real life experience with the mystical realms. Her action packed books are full of lessons, insights, and calls for other Abomination Born folks in the world to start connecting, which is what we do in our podcast each week and why I love chatting with Casie. She is an award-winning public speaker, and I think that you'll find by watching this podcast and reading her books that she effortlessly just draws her audience into her world, both in her book and on the stage. Welcome, Casie. I'm always so happy to have you with me.
Thank you.
Awesome. And then my name is Ashley Kim. I am the author of Villanera Goddess. It is a book that I wrote to help women on their journey as they set boundaries, build confidence, and heal themselves. It is a very honest and open look at what I went through and the tools that I used to survive my villain era. And I went through my journey alone. And so I wrote this book so that you wouldn't have to go it alone. So I'm going to be riding this crazy roller coaster with you. Yay,
It's a good
awesome.
book.
Thank you. And finally, our special guest today is Dr. Lena Townsend. She is a powerhouse of spiritual wisdom with more than 25 years of tarot experience. She is a registered metaphysical practitioner, a certified tarot grandmaster, and ordained minister. So cool. Dr. Townsend blends deep intuitive insight with spiritual guidance, helping us find clarity and connection. Her work extends into energy healing as a certified Usui Reiki master teacher. Beyond her spiritual practice, Dr. Townsend is also a writer and poet, channeling creativity into every aspect of her life. So, welcome, Dr. Townsend. We are so happy to have you.
Hi,
Yay.
I'm glad to be here. It's nice to meet
Hey,
you both.
nice to meet
Yay.
you. Oh, we are so excited. And for those watching, Dr. Townsend is called in. So if you're watching, you will see a photo of her. And so what you won't be able to see her video, but that's fine. This is how we're doing technology today. So yay. Okay. So we always start the podcast with a little just show and tell. It's stuff that we're just loving right now, and it can be anything that we want to show. I'm going to share my screen real quick. And okay. Can you see my screen?
I can see it.
Okay.
There it
Perfect.
comes.
All right. Okay, Casie, do you want to go or do you want me to go?
Why don't you go?
Okay. All right. I just have a couple things with a bunch of photos. Okay. So this time of year is my favorite time of year, and Aldi is selling the cinnamon brooms for less than $2. And so we are stocked up on our cinnamon brooms. I pulled up, well, obviously they smell amazing, but they can also serve other benefits as well. So I just did a little research into it. Draw good fortune in financial matters, clean spaces, protect homes from the bad ickies out there, decorate, which is always good, and to make your home smell wonderful. Um, and then the other reason why I liked this, and I'll go into this a little bit more, but this website has the act of sweeping is not just physical, but deeply symbolic, clearing away the unseen and the unwanted. The broom is often placed above doorways, acting as a sentinel against evil spirits and misfortune. And so, one of the things that Casie talks about a lot is sweeping and that broom magic, the sweeping light and love into your house, into your neighborhood. And a while ago, we were talking about ways to help my 6-year-old feel more secure in her bedroom at night. And she said, "We'll get a little broom." And so, walking down the Aldi aisle, and I was like, well, there's the broom right there. So now we have enough for anyone in the family who wants to sweep light and love into their bedroom or anywhere else in the house. And then we will decorate them and make them fun. So I just had to show this. And what a good deal. So less than $2. So pretty good deal there.
I love the
Um,
cinnamon brooms every season, every fall.
yes.
It's just so
Yeah. Oh, I
fun.
love it. Yep. My husband already has one hanging above his computer where he works every day. So like they were quickly put to use. Um, okay. Oh, the second thing I had, this is my new book that I'm reading right now. We had a guest on a quite a few weeks ago, we had Heidi Taylor on. And so
Oh,
one of the
yeah.
things that we were talking about just I don't even know how we got on this subject, but with podcasts it goes everywhere. But we had been talking about kind of the my kids and I share, if I'm reading a book, they will dream about what I'm reading, or we'll have the same dreams, or they're constantly in my head, I'm in theirs. And so she had recommended this book, not as like there's anything evil going on, but just as a way to kind of protect your mind and to kind of put a shell. That's how I said it. I'm like, I need a shell around my head. And so she had recommended this book. So just got started with this. What I really liked about it is he goes into, what it is like to, if somebody is sending an attack towards you, a spiritual attack, for example, but he's very honest and open about like what is or isn't an attack. So, for example, if you go up to somebody in public and punch them in the face and they punch you back, that was not an attack. That was you asking for it. And so he like does go into that, which I appreciate that because it kind of cracks me up, but also we do need to remember that we're not all victims all the time. And so I won't read each of these, but for those listening and not watching, his book goes through different symptoms. So, for example, this page talks about external attacks. Um, there's another page that talks about mental conditions. And then I think the last one, yeah, was physical conditions. So, it really goes through like all of the different things that can be happening to you if you are under attack. And I appreciated that for myself. I am still on my spiritual journey of trusting myself and understanding everything around me. So it's always nice to have somebody kind of validating things for me. So far, really liking this book.
Oh, sounds like a good book.
Yeah,
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 I've not read it myself, but it does sound like a good book.
yeah. I'm very
Protection and Reversal Magic.
Yep,
That's,
I can
yeah.
bring it up again. The Witch's Defense Manual. And
Oh,
so if you buy it now, it's actually, I think, his second edition. So then he has like even more notes. So he published it and then had a ton of questions about things. So he goes in and answers those in the second edition, which I also liked that too, because I am one of those people that's like, well, what about this or what about that? And so he goes through all that. So
wow.
yeah. Oh, and it's by Jason Miller. I'm sorry. I always do a horrible job of describing what we're seeing for those who are listening while they're driving their car. So it's Protection and Reversal Magic by Jason Miller. All right. That's what I had. All right, Casie, what do you want to start with? You have a lot of good stuff.
Let's see. How about the moon stuff? Let's,
Okay. Do we want to do the supermoon picture or?
sure.
Okay.
Well, everyone knows this is the super moon right now. And this is the time it says emotions are running high. I got this from the oracle cards that I have on Moonology. And you can go to the next ones.
Oh, here, this one.
Yeah, sure. Let's go with that one. This card, so if you have this set of oracle cards and you happen to pull up the supermoon, and we're in the supermoon right now, this is what it says. This card suggests that the answer to whatever you're asking is writ large, like the silvery full moon set against the velvety night sky. If you're wondering how successful something is going to be, such as a job or relationship, the answer is very. You can go on to the next page. And it
I'm
says,
sorry.
yeah, it says there's also a sense that the opportunities around whatever you're asking don't come along every day, so take action. I thought that was really important about the supermoon. Not only is it a powerful moon that things is happening and all the emotions that go with all these changes. Every time something, even if it's good, there's going to be a whole lot of emotions behind it.
Mhm.
But now is the beginning time to take action. So
Yeah.
success is close, and I must trust. And then it says, additional meaning for this card is a resolution to your question is closer than you may think. Don't ignore the obvious. Something exciting lies ahead. Make sure you don't blow events out of proportion. And speak to the goddess. Ask her for assistance. And then
Nice.
the last page, yeah, that was pretty good. The last page A supermoon is a new or full moon that takes place when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth during this monthly orbit, an event known as perigee. It's a full moon. If it's a full moon, the moon appears around 14% bigger at this time. The moon is known as the queen of emotions. And if you draw the supermoon card, regardless of when you do it, you can expect your feelings to be more highly charged. Queen
Yeah.
of emotion.
Yes,
So
I
true.
definitely feel it.
Yeah, I looked at the moon early this morning and it was huge.
It's just so gorgeous.
And
And
this
then
is the
here's
deck
the
it
deck.
comes from. Yeah,
Yep.
Yasmin Roland Moonology Oracle cards.
Mm.
It's really a wonderful deck.
It really is. Yeah. I get her emails too. She has a great email newsletter.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yep. She has little worksheets and things that you can do.
And then I had a picture of the hat there.
The hat. Oh, yep.
Yeah, I was at the Kansas City Metaphysical Fair this past July, and that is where I met Dr. Townsend. And if you want to go to uh, my the card reading, the picture of all the cards in the circle, and this is the reading that she gave for me, and she put it in the circle like I like to do. It was just wonderful to see that.
Yes.
And you go
I
to
remember you
another one.
talking about this. Yeah. I
Yes,
remember you were so excited.
I was. Let's
I
see,
love that.
and, and let's see. Then there's a picture of, oh, there, yeah, there she is. There's Dr. Townsend. My husband took pictures of us while we were sitting there.
Yes. Pretty in pink. Here's another. Oh, here's. Oh, here's one with Casie.
And there's both of us before she
Oh, I
started.
love it. Yeah.
My tiny little table. I have a new table now.
Oh, you do? Oh,
I do.
wow.
I have a bigger table now. I had opted to do a small table that day. I was feeling a little overwhelmed with stuff, and I felt like I needed something smaller that wasn't going to be so much space. And
Hmm.
so it just felt really good to me to have a small table that day. I think sometimes stuff has so much energy, it just kind of weighs us down. And so I was very excited about using the small table that day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it is kind of nice how things kind of talk to you and let you know what's good for that day.
Mhm.
I have the table I have now is not as big as the one I originally started with, um, but it's not as small as that one. So I kind of went somewhere happy in the middle, you know? And I
Yep.
feel like that was kind of my balance. Being a Libra, balance seems to be very important to me.
Oh, right, you're a Libra. Oh, yeah, that's right. I always used a card table, those foldable card tables.
Yeah, that's
Kind
what I originally started with, was
that's
a 4 foot by 4 foot card table, actually.
Yeah, mine was 36 inches by 36 inches. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
whatever that is, 3 feet by 3 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's like 3 feet. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I had the slightly bigger one. I had opted for it simply because at the time I was doing multiple things, not just readings. And then as the years went by, I just kind of reduced down to where I'm just focusing the majority of the time on the tarot because um, it was kind of what became part of me and helped
Mhm.
me get to where I am in my journey.
Oh,
It was
I know.
it was like a guide for me. I kind of feel like to some degree, God kind of saved me through the tarot. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
Mhm.
absolutely does. The journey through the tarot, absolutely. And we call it in a spiral because you go around that circle once and then you can go around it again and then again and again. It's a never-ending spiral like a slinky.
Right. And for me, I read it kind of that way, but I also read like a star pattern, kind of like an asterisk through the cards. So I read, for instance, if we're reading the 1 o'clock position, we don't just read the 1 o'clock card. We read the 1 o'clock card with the cards that are on either side of it, so at midnight and 2. And then we also read the center card and the cards that are across from it, like the 8,
7.
7, and 6.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. I know when you were doing that with mine, I was like, oh, yes, she does it like I do it, except I don't do exactly like that. But, and then something else you do different. Um, my first quadrant, but like the 1 o'clock would be in fire, and I think yours was air. In what would be like the 1 o'clock would be air, and my air is down by 7.
Right, because for my circle specifically, the top half of the circle is always the spiritual aspect of things. The bottom half is like the physical, and then we for the quarters, I actually um I use air, and then um after that would be fire for me, and then the emotions are always earthy to me. So, um, I kind of keep them in the water section. So I actually have switched those around in my cards to where the top half actually is water and the bottom half is earth or coins. Did I say earth on the first one? I meant
No.
water.
Okay.
For the emotions, it's water for me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So
Isn't
the
that
water
neat?
to
And and,
me,
Yeah.
and yeah,
emotion.
and I love how you do it according to what it's talking to you, how it tells you how to do it.
Right. And it can switch depending on my intuition and what my guide says. Like if she says, okay, this card isn't working for this today, then I'll trust her. But for the most part, like my water stuff and my air stuff are on the top half. The bottom half is the physical, so it's going to be earth and fire.
Mhm.
That is so cool.
And then I do have a special message card that comes to the side, which is not showing in your circle picture there.
Right.
So we actually use a total of um, 14 cards
14.
for the circle, because that 14th card is like the message we need to know right at this moment. It's the thing we need to know today to help us in our journey that's furthering us. And it can be a reversed meaning or not, depending on what my guide tells me. But it's always the bottom of the deck. So
Mm.
after we shuffle, after we lay the cards out, we flip the deck over, and that's our special message for the day.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that
Oh, I
fun?
love
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It just the reading alone was an adventure. It was just so
mhm.
fun.
The interesting thing about the circle, how it came about for me, I actually didn't realize it also can tie in some of the zodiac things and
Mm.
astrology, that type of thing, but also numerology, colors. At the time when I created my circle, I just did not realize all of that was going to come into play until much, much later as my experiences grow, as my um, education in this area has changed, as my guide has become closer to me, symbolism has become more aware to me. The more I grow, the more I develop, the more I practice, the more things seem to be added to the circle. And the more open I am to receive messages in other ways. I can read with anything: dice, dominoes, toothpicks, coins, crystal balls. It's all intuitive.
Oh, I love that.
It's
I
so cool.
even I even read with blank cards, just straight pieces of white paper.
Wow,
That
you
is so
are at
cool.
master level. Yeah.
Yeah, she is. She definitely is.
Oh, that
I
is so
also I also do mediumship. I can speak with spirits, but I do not summon. I don't ask them to come to me. I don't try to draw them in any way. If they come through and they share a message, I'll share it. Because I don't believe they want to be bothered in the afterlife. I feel like they have a better place there. So if they want to talk to us, I'll talk to them, but I don't ask them to come through. And if there's something that they are wanting to share, I will share whatever I get. Even if
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense to me, I will absolutely blurt it out to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I like that. Yeah. Oh, that is so cool.
I'm the same way. I don't call in things. I don't make them come. Not that I don't think I'm sure I could, but I don't. It,
Absolutely. I believe you. I believe you could. I do
yeah.
recall, based on what my guide is saying, because I don't normally remember people's readings, but my guide is saying, like, when we were talking, there was an instant knowing. She does say that I instantly called you out as an intuitive, actually. And I don't recall doing that. But if my guide told me you were an intuitive, obviously there was that medium connection or that psychic connection.
She was
Um,
probably talking to my grandma.
and I totally believe, like, um, you know, not all psychics are mediums, but I do believe all mediums have to be psychics. But I also kind of believe that everyone has psychic skills. I think we're born with it. It's a natural ability. It's a beautiful gift. I do believe women are more aware of it earlier on than masculine figures are, just because we are more sensitive to, our physical and mental and spiritual self. And men tend to be very one tracked, or masculine energies tend to be very one tracked with their focus,
Yeah.
because they are in that provider, hunter, I don't know, person mode,
Mhm.
as a more physical mode, right? Where women are more about everything. We can multitask, we can, connect with all things. And so I think that makes us more aware. So women tend to grow into that psychic a little bit faster than men admit it, right? Does
Yeah.
that make sense? I
Yeah,
think
definitely.
they're aware, but they logic it away.
Mhm. Yeah. And I think if it's related too closely to the word emotion, then it can kind of get pushed under the rug a little bit for some men.
Right. It's because they're taught to, or have been, unfortunately, in society to suppress that a little bit, and that's very sad. It makes me sad, but at the same time, they also experience them differently, right? So, you know, I'm not here to judge men or women or anything like that, or
Yeah.
any kind of energies. In fact, I don't believe in that, but I do believe, we're all kind of like a part of this huge energy mass, right? We're all a little piece of it and we share this energy. And I do believe in the process of sharing that energy, we all become connected. So you can't exist and not be a part of the energy. We're not apart from it. We are a part of it. And that includes all things, right? Because everything is energy.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is energy, which is a vibration.
Exactly.
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I remember the first time that I ever, well, I was always raised knowing that, we were the real people and everybody else wasn't, and so, uh,
Right.
but I remember the first, I was at a naming ceremony and the spirits had come into the sky and everything, and they named this Native American woman, and the chief of the Lakota Nation was there, and he heard the spirits say, "And your name shall be Whispering Wind." And it was a shock to me. I didn't realize that other people who weren't from our family could hear. I didn't know. I was shocked. I was shocked that, and it was a guy. He was the chief, and I had no idea that that was possible. And
Mhm.
so, but I was young. I was in my late 20s. So I was young. I didn't know any better. But
It's
Back when you knew
since then, I've learned a
everything.
lot.
it's interesting because I kind of started seeing my guide in dreams when I was a teenager, was when I really noticed her. And she was just this figure of a woman in most of the dreams that was present there. And it was like she was always in the space, but I couldn't. really connect with her. I didn't understand her or why she was there or who she was. And I kept seeing her again and again and again. And I remember asking my mother, hey, Mom, was there this, Native American woman who was a babysitter or something for me when I was a child? And I kept describing to her, what this woman looked like. And my mom's like, no. And I kept trying to figure out, like, why do I feel like I know her, but I don't know who she is? And then I started hearing her in my dreams too, but she was speaking in a foreign language or what was foreign to me. And so I couldn't really understand what she was saying, but every now and then she would say, "Two World Walker." And I finally, not until many, many, many years later, which was really crazy to me, had this decision to go to a metaphysical fair, of all things, with a friend of mine, which was my first ever experience with that. And there was a woman there who was doing spirit guide paintings. And I thought, okay, because I was a huge skeptic, huge. And I had already been reading tarot and reading books and all this, but I was a skeptic. So I thought, yeah, okay, she's going to take my $50 and she's just going to tell me something, you know? But I'm going to just go with it and just try to be open-minded. I sat down with this woman, and to this day, I can't tell you what her name is. I can tell you I still own the painting. She painted this picture while she talked to me, and she was telling me, random things about, spirituality and how she came into what she does and those types of things. And I was listening, and we were just conversating. And I never told her anything about my dreams or anything like that at that point because it didn't occur to me to tell her those things. She turns this picture around, and it is the exact picture of the woman I've been dreaming about since I was a
That's so
child.
awesome.
Yeah, it feels.
And I said, "Oh my gosh." I said, "I have to tell you." I said, "I keep dreaming about this woman. Do you know what her name is?" And she said, Two Worlds Walker. She said, she
Oh,
tells me her name is Two Worlds Walker. I almost fell off my chair.
yeah,
I bet.
yeah.
And then
That
I
is so
heard,
awesome.
like instantly at that moment, I heard in my head, no, my name is Two World Walker. And I've been able to hear her and understand her ever since.
I call that blood talk.
Mhm.
I believed it was a very strong awakening moment for
Mhm.
Yes,
me.
that is so
One of my
awesome.
I've had a bunch of them actually, just numerous awakening moments, and they seem to still continue. Like, I don't believe we have one awakening. I think we
Mhm.
have multiple awakenings, where our awareness grows and we see something new, not only in ourselves, but our world around us and the spirituality that surrounds us, and we just can't even fathom the mass workings of God. Does that make
That
sense?
that's the spiral going around. We're going around the tarot, and then we go around it again and again. That's the slinky going up and up.
Right.
Absolutely. And at each one of those clock positions, we have these awakenings.
Yeah, I absolutely, I can feel that. Like, I can
Yeah.
sense that as being a very good depiction of what we experience. It's like, for me, it was like this journey of, I have to repeat some things, but I have to experience new things along the way. So I
Mhm.
can
Yeah.
experience it in a repeat mode, but add something new.
Yes.
Mhm.
You're not the same person. We've gone up a level.
Right, exactly. It's like definitely climbing up that long ladder that we have to go through or something.
Yeah.
It's so lifting. That's why I say up, climbing up, because when we talk about spirit, when we are connecting with spirit, it is a part of who we are. And as we talk about it, it lifts us up, it brings us joy. People have said to me, Lena, how can you read for 12 hours straight and, only have a couple of little breaks in there and not be completely exhausted? And I
Mhm.
said, it's because it lifts me up. Now, after, an hour or two, that energy starts to drop after I'm done. It starts to drop, and then I will sleep like a baby.
Yeah.
5 minutes, I call it my magic chair, 5 minutes in my recliner, and I'm done, you know. But at that point, when I am finishing up and spirit is still so alive and so much working through us, there's no way you can't be lifted. Does that make
Mhm.
sense?
I know, absolutely.
Mhm.
I know I used to meditate with groups. I used to teach meditation and everything, and I would be out for like 8 hours at a time, and I was never exhausted. It was, you're just full of the energy or the vibration from the other side.
Right. And that's why I started when I after I really had that awakening, I really started diving into more of the other things a little deeper. Like I had already been looking at aromatherapy and herbology and magic and, different types of faiths and all these different things. I wanted to learn everything. And then when I met my guide, it was like this total, oh my gosh, now I want to know everything. And at first, I still kind of thought maybe I was a little bit crazy. I even went to therapy. They told me I was bipolar. And
Oh, wow.
I got to be honest, at first I believed them, because I kept seeing these things that other people couldn't see. And
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
I didn't understand how I could see this young girl in my household who wasn't a part of my household, but she was definitely there, and other people couldn't recognize her or see her or didn't realize that she was making all these things to make herself known. And then one day my husband saw her, and that's when I was like 100% convinced I am not crazy. I've
Mhm.
got to get off this medication so I can figure out what is going on with me.
Yes,
And I sat
yes.
down and just had a really long spiritual talk with spirit. And I did a little shaman type journey, vision quest type journey. And I was offered three gifts in that journey. And I got to be honest, it was like this awakening of, all of a sudden I was spiritually connected, I was physically connected, I was mentally connected. Everything about me was connected, and I knew I had to keep learning. And now I teach.
Mhm.
That is so
Oh,
awesome.
I
See,
love
I was
this.
lucky, Lena. I had my sister Carol, and my mom, and the other people in our family too. They all could see what I could see, and so it wasn't like, I had validation from day one.
Yep.
I was raised in a Baptist home, um, and my family's background was Southern Baptist. And so all of this was considered very bad in my household growing up.
Same.
In fact, when I went to my mother and she saw me with the tarot, oh my goodness, she laid into me like you would not even believe. Now my mother is one of my biggest followers
Isn't that
Yay!
cool?
Oh, I
because
love that.
she continued to watch how I work and what I do and realized it's not what it was portrayed to be.
Right.
Um, I don't use the tarot in a malicious way. I use the tarot for guidance, for spirituality, to help others. My least favorite thing to do is love and relationships, actually. I totally despise the idea of being a fortune teller to figure out who your soulmate is. Um, because I don't believe that's something we can see necessarily with the tarot. I think it'll show us that soul connection. We can, but I believe there's multiple soulmates. And so love is probably the hardest part for me in reading tarot. And that's one of the number one questions we get as intuitive readers.
Yeah, that's true. I read stones, and so when I have I'll have all the stones out, and I have them pick out a stone. And sometimes I have them not look, and I turn the stones around on this mat, and then I'll have them pick out a stone. And the stone will let me know, the stone that they pick, or the several of them that they pick, will let me know whether or not I should go into that for them or not.
Nice.
The stones never lie. And so I know when a person doesn't really want to know something,
Right.
because even if I know, if I know what's going to happen for them, that doesn't mean that I should tell them. But if a stone tells me to go ahead and tell them, then I will.
So do you have, when you say you read stones, do you use like crystals and stones or just,
Just a variety of all kinds of different ones, and I
and
have
do
them
you
out
happen,
on a mat, and so depending on how I have them pick it up, like if they ask a question, sometimes and I've already get done a reading and I'm qualifying it a little bit more. Um, I might turn the stones around. I have always on a leather mat, and I'll turn them around and have them not see what they're picking. Either they turn their head or they close their eyes or something, and then I'll have them pick or something like that. I'll do different things so that I'll know, and it'll be kind of weird because if I'm not sure, okay, I really shouldn't tell them this what they're asking, or what, let's say what they're asking something and I've told them and they don't want to believe it, and so so then I'll, like, three times we'll do it, and if all three stones are saying the exact same thing, then I know then the stones want them to know something. They're
nice,
very accurate. I'm like, the stones are unbelievably accurate, because sometimes when I have a person in front of me, I can see like a motion picture above them, stuff, about their life. And that is none of my business, I think, unless the stones let me know that they need to
right.
know this.
I,
And
I
so
don't
then,
read anybody without their permission on purpose. Like, I usually see stuff, and when I see it, um, it comes to me very clear, and then my guide will tell me if it's something I'm supposed to share or not.
yeah,
And there are some things that she'll say, okay, you can tell this person, but you need to tell them separate. And so I will tell a person, okay, I need, like if I'm doing a gallery session,
yeah,
um, you know, I will tell them I need to speak to you separately after. And, that's because there's something very personal that maybe they feel public wouldn't need to know.
right.
Um, but with the crystals and gemstones, when I read with those, I usually have them pick the ones they're drawn to, and then I have them just toss them onto basically a table cover that has like a circle on it. You'll notice if you have multiple readings with me, most of my table covers have a circle.
Hmm.
And so I just kind of always stuck with the circle in the center as being my awareness space. And I can read it the same as I read my circle with my cards. It's just with stones or buttons or coins or whatever tool I happen to be using
Farms.
that day.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yeah. You're going for the position to help you, guide you. Yes. Yes. That's
originally, when I first started, I was reading tea leaves and playing cards before I ever encountered the tarot. And I thought it was just a game, like a fortune telling game we did as teenagers,
Mhm, mhm.
My aunt taught me actually. And she didn't explain that this was life guidance and, all this stuff. And I kind of even like remember her kind of freaking out a little bit when I started doing the tarot, because I don't think she recognized that the playing cards and the tea leaves were the same either. Um, but it's literally just the tool is just the tool. The
Yes.
intuition,
Yes.
the guidance comes from spirit.
Yes. That is so cool.
I don't use Ouija boards or anything like that. I'm not a fan of those because I do believe those can invoke spiritual activity that maybe we shouldn't. take a chance on. Like, we may not know what we're getting. I will use a spirit board with a pendulum, but not a Ouija board. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I used to use Ouija board years ago, and I stopped using the Ouija board. Not that anything bad happened, but something so wonderful came through that I thought that if I ever used it again, I might hurt that wonderful that came through. Something like it was odd that I just knew that, I had been given this one chance to have this wonderful thing come through, and that was it. And so I was I put it away so that I could never hurt that wonderful thing.
Well, with the Ouija, I think it's because there is a lot of dark history with how it was originally believed to have come about, and I think that allows for darker energies to work with that. So in my experiences have been not so positive with the Ouija. But when it comes to like a spirit board where you're using a pendulum or dowsing rods or any other kind of divinational tool, it's a very different energy because you're directly working with energy, not with the spirit. And
Yeah, and when you're
I,
talking about spirit board like this, oops, you see that?
yes,
Something like this? Yeah.
I,
For
that
people
that
who
would be
don't
what
know
I'm.
what that means, see if I can get my
Hold
there.
it, yeah, right in front of you. There you go.
Yeah,
See, and
I
it's got
definitely.
letters on it. On the outside here, you can see the letters, and then it's got the zodiac signs and the moon phases, and in the center, this one has the butterfly in the center. But so yeah, this one, I use this one all the time.
Right. And those I believe you can use with any of the tools,
Yeah,
marbles, anything. Um,
charms.
exactly. And it's a very different kind of energy that we're putting out and taking in during that process. Where the Ouija, like the stories, the legends, what is true, what is not, it originated with human skin and a human heart. And it was a very dark purpose behind that being made,
Hmm.
as opposed to because he wanted to possess her. He didn't want to just communicate with her, he wanted to possess her. And so the difference is like possess as in own her.
Hmm.
And so he was trying to bring his wife back from the dead, which has a lot of darkness behind it. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I
Definitely.
don't know the story. Yeah, I didn't know the story of
Yeah.
the Ouija board. That's new. I just like for me, I just that one time where that was it. I didn't want to use it again because I had gotten something so wonderful. I knew that if I did it again, that wonderful that I'd gotten could be tainted, and I didn't dare let that happen.
Right. It's hard when we have a beautiful experience with something that some people have had such a dark experience with. And
Hmm.
that's why I don't use Ouija, but I do communicate with spirit. If they come through to me and they have messages, um, I talk to them, but I also can sense them. And it's weird because I can't always see them and I can't always hear them and I can't always feel them, but I can always do one or the other, or sometimes all of the above. So
Or
it's
you just
very,
know it.
yeah,
Hmm.
there's just this knowing that they're there.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of times when they want me to see them, they'll show themselves to me for just a second. Then I do hear them like a voice in my head, or sometimes I do hear them audibly, and I can always feel the energy change. Like, even if I don't feel them specifically, like what they're feeling or what they're experiencing, I can feel that energy change and shift in the room. But I can also feel earthquakes before they happen.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
it's
wow.
about
Yeah.
the vibrational connection, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Our
So,
wolf could do that too.
right.
Um,
Animals are so gifted with,
yes, yes.
you know, all of that. And that's why it's so important to watch nature with the changing of our seasons, the weather, that you can watch with people, as the moon shifts and change. Not only do the animals, but the people, like right now, this super moon has everyone in emotional kind of
Yep,
roller
queen
coaster,
of emotion.
right? And it's a beautiful thing, but it can be very challenging.
Yeah. Ashley can actually touch her door handle and sense the house. She's just
Yeah.
really she's a high feeling person. She knows things.
Yes. I
I
was
am
just telling Casie, yes, or I think it was Saturday. My son and I were in the living room and our house stopped something from coming in, but our storm door opened and we heard a male voice go, oh, like oops, kind of a thing, and shut the door and left. But there you couldn't see anything, but we saw the door move, we heard the voice, the door shut, and it was gone. So yeah, I love my house. I love you.
it's
Yes.
interesting because, like everything else, any objects, a home will hold the energy. I
Mhm.
remember walking into the depot, it's the Santa Fe Depot, and it's like a theater in Dodge City. And
Mhm.
I remember when I first walked in there, it was like an instant step back in time for me. And then I blinked and everything was back to normal.
Oh
So it was
yeah.
like I saw everything like early 1800s,
Mhm.
late 1800s time period or something. It was very crazy, weird feeling.
Cool.
Flip in
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, like I stepped through a time warp for just a second.
That is
And
so awesome. Yes.
I walked over and I touched the windowsill because they had these big, enormous, they have the most beautiful windows. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I touched the windowsill and I realized that's all original woodwork. Like, if you ever get a chance to go there, just touch it, feel it as an intuitive. Trust your intuition.
And this is
Mhm.
Dodge City,
Especially,
Kansas.
yes, Dodge City, Kansas.
Okay.
Especially, like Ashley, you talk about feeling your house. Like, if you get the chance to touch those windowsills, they
Mhm.
will speak to you in volumes. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just crazy the things you will see, the energy, the stories that will come forward. I had
Yeah.
so many great experiences in Dodge City. Um,
Oh, wow.
and I've done a lot of paranormal investigations all throughout Kansas. Um, and that was one of the more haunted places. It's more actively haunted
Hmm.
than some of the others that I've been to. But let me tell you, when they say Atchison is the most haunted city in Kansas, I can tell you that is not true. Um, uh, my experiences in Atchison were very, very active hauntings there, but nothing like what we experienced in Dodge City or Wamego, Kansas. Even Abilene, Kansas had a lot of activity in the old Abilene town, which is actually just buildings that were moved there and put on that site. But the energy
Yeah.
that they hold is just crazy energy.
Hmm.
And I was so excited to be a part of that and be working as a psychic consultant with the teams that I've worked with over the years, doing those things, like going to those places.
That was just so cool. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. A few years ago, I went to the Alamo in Texas, and everyone was like, "Oh, I bet there's going to be, so many ghosts or whatever." And there wasn't really in the buildings. There were the trees for me anyway. But then I found out later that all the buildings weren't original. Like they were kind of rebuilt to look like original buildings. So like, but I always wondered if that was why when I was in the buildings, I didn't. It just felt like I was with a bunch of tourists. But as soon as I got into some of those trees, it was like, oh, like
Yeah,
punch to the gut.
Right, because
Yeah, same here in the Ozarks. I've seen more spirits here in the Ozarks than I have in my entire life anywhere else, you know.
Really?
see, I live in the Ozarks too, so
Oh
um
yeah.
experience here. Like even weirdly enough, like when I moved into my house, we bought it and I hadn't seen it. My husband and my brother came and they looked at the house, they saw the house, we bought the house. I didn't see it until after we had already bought the house. And I came into the home, and within 24 hours, I'm like, oh boy, we have a dead guy.
Yep.
And I actually described him because I'm pretty brave like that and I talk a lot. So I told one of my neighbors, community members here, about my experience of seeing him. And she's like, well, what did it look like? And I told her what he looked like. And she's like, oh my gosh, that sounds like the guy who you bought the house from. And I was like, yeah, I kind of got that feeling like it was him. And she said, well, he's only been dead like 2 months, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, well, it doesn't usually matter how long they're there.
Mhm.
Um, if they want you to know that they're around, they'll let you know. And he's very peaceful. He haunts here quite often. Um, and I do believe our dog can see him. I also believe my granddaughter, she's not even a year old. I think she communicates with him and laughs with him.
There you
Um,
go.
so and he also, I believe, had a black cat, um, that he
It
maybe had.
shows up too.
Yeah, because we see it walk through. I'm pretty sure it's a male cat, um, but we see it walk through just in the living room every now and then. You'll just see this little black shadow of a cat just go through
Yeah.
the room, and
That's so cool.
it's a
I've only
feeling.
seen one ghost that was an animal ever. I was,
Oh,
yeah, only one.
It's hard sometimes for me to tell whether they're a ghost or an image that the spirits are trying to show me,
Mm,
because sometimes they come up kind of similar, the way they look, the way their energy is put off. But I think I've always been able to see animal spirits. I just wasn't always able to hear them and understand them.
mm.
That was a more recent thing for me now. Like communicating with animals actually started happening to me only about 7 or 8 years ago. Prior to that, I mean, I saw them, but I didn't hear anything.
Mhm.
And,
Yeah.
now I can hear them like I hear us talking.
Oh, wow.
yeah. See, you'd gone along one of those slinky spirals. You went up another level.
Right.
Each time you go up another level, it becomes easier for them because they have to come down, you know, and
Mhm.
it's harder for them to come down. But when we come up, then it's easier for them to meet us.
I do think we gain new gifts as we grow. And,
Mhm. Mhm.
once we've learned what we need to in one certain area, they throw something new at us. Like at one point I was very into magical and, um, spiritual type herbs, medicinal type herbs and herbology. And I was studying and learning about that. And then one day my guide just started giving me all this information about cooking and spices and what spices to use and herbs and how to make spice blends and herbal blends for both magical and medicinal, but also culinary purposes. But at that point, she also started tying me with those back to past lives that I must have experienced. And so I'm like, all of a sudden, I was dreaming. I've been dreaming for a very long time now, recipes that were like things I've never even eaten before. Like I've never tasted it, or like pot stickers, for instance. I had no idea what a pot sticker was, but according to my guide, she was going to show me how to make pot stickers.
They
And
are good.
I'm like, okay. And so she
I
taught
don't think
me.
I know what that is.
It's basically a little dumpling, actually. Um,
Okay.
but the way my guide does it is very different than what other people do it. And I found it interesting because it's not something that normally probably, I mean, I wouldn't have thought it would be something Native Americans would have been eating.
Mm.
So I found that very interesting that she taught me, bone broth, I could see that, that made sense to me. But pot stickers, but then I started realizing it wasn't about her. She wasn't doing it for her. It was something I was needing to know. And
Yeah.
I realized the herbs and things like that she was having me put in it, I started realizing are connected to things that we need for growth. Like, for instance, she wanted me to put rosemary in the dumpling dough. And rosemary is a third eye opener. It is about intuition and memory and focus and all the things that we need to be able to connect with. And I'm like, okay, she's teaching me these things not only for my own healing and growth, but also so that I can teach these to other people. So now I'm kind of working on that while trying to develop a master class for teaching my tarot, because I already teach a practitioner course.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm also incorporating, the Reiki that I've learned into multiple areas, including things like plant life, children, pets, family, objects, and experiencing those has opened up new visions of color. Like I was always able to occasionally see colors around people. Now I can almost see it on demand. If I want to see someone's aura, I can ask guide and it'll come to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I can also see cloudy spaces where they need healing and
Mm.
instantly will get an herb that's associated with that. Like that'll come into my head. Oh, well, they could maybe try this herb and this stone and this candle and this color and this experience, so it's
Yeah.
all kind of happening all at once. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
And you
Lena,
are,
how does someone get a hold of you? We like to always make
yep.
sure people know how to get a hold of everyone. So how would they get a hold of you if they wanted the information for you?
To be honest, right now I do not have a website. I am so technology challenged that every time I build a website, it just does not work. And I'm still working on trying to figure that out. So Facebook has been really the only way to get a hold of me for a very long time, other than
Oh,
my phone number, which is also on my Facebook. So if they go to my Facebook page, it's Peaceful Whispers LLC, and they can absolutely find information about me and a way to connect with me directly because I am the only one usually who checks those messages.
wow,
Um,
wonderful.
my husband will check them if I'm doing a reading day because he does all my sign in and stuff like that. But he always sends it right back to me. So,
Okay. Okay. And we can put
Wonderful.
links to your Facebook page and we can put your phone number in the show notes too so that people can
Yes.
get a hold of you.
uh,
Um, yeah.
yeah, you
This,
have, because that's how you read, how you were able to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
There I did have a previous business phone number on a business card and recently had to shut it down because it does not work at all here in my wonderful
oh,
wooded area of the Ozarks.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Um, okay. Yeah. Oh, this was amazing. Thank you so much for joining us and just, oh my gosh, I think I could listen to you talk for, at least another 2 hours. This was so
Yes.
interesting to me. And
well,
I appreciate just how open you are with your stories. I think our listeners kind of vary between women who are like you and Casie that are, very evolved and open to this, and then people like me who are getting into it a bit more and learning. I thought that I was just a person with a very colorful imagination, not realizing that I was getting information, from outside of myself. And so, yeah, your stories are wonderful, and you have a great way of teaching through just your stories that you tell. I appreciate that.
well,
Yes.
I can tell you a little free tip. This is part of my psychic development class. I always tell my students, always trust your first thought. Your intuition is going to be 9 times out of 10 your first thought. Don't doubt yourself. Don't second guess yourself. Trust your first thought. And I also tell my students, look for the synchronicities. They tell you if that first thought is on point.
Yes.
So
Oh,
those are super important parts. And always continue to practice. Don't get discouraged. Journal about what you're learning. Practice, practice, practice. And the more you practice, the stronger it gets. The more you journal, the more you can validate, the more confidence you have. So you'll practice more. So continue to do that. It's a process of we keep learning and growing as we go.
yes.
That's so
Oh, I
true.
love that. Thank you. Yes, very true. Awesome. Thank you again so much for being on our podcast. I'm so glad that we were able to work this out and have you on with us today.
Well, thank
Yay.
you for having me.
Yes. All right. Okay, hang tight. I'm going to end the recording real quick. So for everybody listening, thank you for joining us.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you.